What's up, parents? My name is Dr. John Caruso. I am a neurologically focused pediatric prenatal family wellness chiropractor in Katy, Texas, where our ultimate goal is to address the root cause of sickness, dysfunction, and disease within our kids so that we can build generational health for years to come. And so when most of us think about health or keeping ourselves and our family healthy, some of the first things that come to mind are things like eating healthy and having good nutrition, staying hydrated, staying active and in shape, getting great sleep, taking our vitamins and minerals and supplements, and let's be honest, for us as adults, it's managing our stress levels as best as we can. But now there's a emerging and wildly exciting new way to manage our health and even the health of our kids. And it may seem new and novel to you, but it's wildly simple and effective when we really start to break it down. And what is it that we're talking about here? We're really talking about something called nervous system regulation. And so this video primarily is an absolute perfect fit for you and your family. If you feel as though that you've thrown the book, let alone the whole library and the kitchen and all of the things that your kids' health and your health, and you've tried every diet change, you've tried every supplement, every natural health measure out there, but you're still feeling constantly stressed, overwhelmed, and out of balance. This video is especially helpful for you or your child if you struggle with things like falling asleep and staying asleep, or feeling rested and having good energy throughout your day. Things like brain fog, or the endless trips back to the coffee pot, or the focus-related challenges, the mood or emotional imbalances, and even the big stuff like gut or immune health issues that just aren't responding to what everybody else is doing with diet changes and detoxes and supplements and so forth. So share this with those who you feel like need it the most. The other families, the parents, the people who you connect with the absolute most on a day-to-day basis. As with most of my videos and all of the things that I love to talk about in the office is sharing information and sharing stories about cool kids, cool patients, cool families, and some of the amazing stuff that like most people don't realize whenever we start talking about chiropractic care. So there's a set of twins that I see in my practice. They're about 7 years old. And, they've done all of the things. They've gone down the medical bus and mom's tired of it. They have done PT and OT and speech and behavioral stuff, and they went to a neurodevelopmental specialist, and they even tried chiropractic at one point in time, and they were like, this isn't just for us right now. And so, there's lots of struggles from a emotional regulation, a sleep, a energy, a focus, a sensory component, and mom's kind of at her wit's end with it all. And I share all of this because when we start talking about what has been happening with these kiddos, and this was I want to share a text message that she sent to us about, I think it was like right before Thanksgiving or like right before Christmas. There was a weekend where her husband was out of town, and there was this holiday event that, she actually didn't say anything about it in the office to me, but she was like, there's this holiday event, and she sent me a text on like a Saturday or Sunday, and she was like, look, I just got to tell you the coolest thing ever, and I can't wait until I see you on Monday to share it. But we went to this holiday event, and a year ago, I would have never thought that I would be taking our children to a holiday event, let alone me by myself taking our twins to this holiday event. And she's like, Dr. John, I got to share with you that these kids had the most fun. They were so well behaved, well regulated, and like I actually got to enjoy the holiday and enjoy the event with these kids, with our kids. And like I never would have thought that was possible, simply because of the big struggles that they had with sensory and regulating emotions and all of the big things there. When mom and I sat down and we talked about goals of like, if we had like a genie in a bottle and we like rubbed the heck out of it, like what would be the one wish that you have for your kids and your family? And she's like, if I could have one thing, it would be to go on a family vacation and actually like enjoy it instead of like just doing our normal routine in a different place, which like, let's be honest, vacations with kids are exactly like that. But she's like, I just want to enjoy vacation with our kids and actually like go somewhere instead of just like, regret even going. I was like, cool. She's like, so this weekend that we just had with our kids, or that I had with the twins, like, just gives me the hope and the faith and the belief that this is actually going to happen for us. And like, I cannot thank you enough for the things that you're doing for our kids and for our families. And I always share with my parents when cool stuff like that happens, whether it's seizures decreasing in frequency and intensity, or kids finally sleeping well or pooping well or calming and regulating their emotions. It's like, the reason as to why that's so effective is because the nervous system is becoming more regulated. We're restoring balance and repairing the function within the inside. We're not treating it or fixating or curing it. We're honing in on the body's processes that it already has inside. And that's the coolest thing to be able to get to watch. So on this topic of nervous system regulation, because I could share stories all day with you, but on this topic of nervous system regulation, what the heck is it? And so the nervous system helps our entire body stay balanced and to stay stable. And it keeps every single body system communicating together and in harmony. So coordination is the key. That's one of my favorite words. And when it keeps things in harmony or keeps things coordinated and operating in the right order, we call that homeostasis. And so when our nervous system is regulated, everything works well, from like basic functions like sleeping and eating and digestion to more advanced functions like controlling our inflammation, managing our immune responses, and then improving or enhancing mental, emotional, and cognitive health and function as well. Sounds cool, right? So what specifically happens when the nervous system becomes dysregulated? So when our nervous system becomes overly stressed out and imbalanced, and this is not just like the symptom of an overly stressed out and imbalanced nervous system like anxiety, we're literally just talking about the physiological changes of active stress responses on our body. So when this happens, our nervous system becomes dysregulated. And so nervous system dysregulation can take many different forms. And it often starts with alterations in basic health functions like sleep, digestion, and energy. And those are usually the first things. And so if you or your child are beginning to notice changes and challenges with falling asleep, staying asleep, digestion, mood, energy, and emotional regulation, these are all signs and symptoms of a nervous system that's no longer being regulated. So when we start diving into the nervous system, we have to understand what the role that our autonomic nervous system plays and the vagus nerve plays in regulating things like the central nervous system. So the nervous system, and when we talk about nervous system regulation for that matter, is primarily governed by what's known as the autonomic nervous system. So you could think about this as like the automatic portion of how things are controlled. So the things that we don't have to think about that happen just by themselves, right? So like our heart beating, our lungs breathing, our food that's coming in, and the enzymes that are being produced to break it down so then we can get the nutrition from it and then continue to grow and support our body that way. So when we start talking about that piece, the autonomic nervous system, it controls and it can coordinate all of the major systems of the body. So including the trillions and trillions of cells almost entirely on autopilot, right? That automatic part. And this happens at all times, whether we're awake, whether we're asleep, whether we're hanging out doing a video just like this, or whether we're playing with our kids. These things are happening all of the time. And so the autonomic nervous system has two branches. So we have our sympathetic fight or flight response. Most people know that, right? It's like that fight, flight, freeze, stressed out, overloaded, overwhelmed, dysregulated side, right? Then we have our parasympathetic side, which is the rest, relaxation, regulating, growth, development. So like eat, sleep, poop type stuff. And so the vagus nerve, which is one of our 12 cranial nerves, and it comes out the base of the skull and it goes to places like our heart, our lungs, our digestive tract, plays a role with sensory integration, and it also plays a role with the immune system. It plays a role with our gut motility or how things are moving through. And then through Dr. Stephen Porges' work, which I just nerd out all over all the time with, it plays a massive role, or I say it, the vagus nerve plays a massive role with socialization and emotional regulation, which both of those are heavily rooted in safety. Something that I talk about within the office almost every single day. But, the vagus nerve is, like I said, a very important cranial nerve that's primarily responsible for what we're talking about here. So resting, relaxing, repairing, restoring, and regulating. So if you or your child are having any damage or injury to the vagus nerve, the nervous system is going to struggle to regulate and stay balanced. And so common symptoms and consequences of nervous system dysfunction. So when the nervous system becomes dysregulated and dysfunctional, we often see what's called the perfect storm set in. So in an infant, this looks like difficulty nursing and eating and latching, trouble soothing and calming and sleeping, being super colicky, fussy, all of the acid reflux, constipation, the eczema, and skin stuff. And from there, this is where kids then struggle with chronic ear infections and respiratory and immune system health as well. And then also struggle with big things like motor planning and motor function, or like motor milestones. So this plays a big role, if you remember from our video from last week, making their way through developmental milestones. And eventually, a dysregulated nervous system can show up as big emotions, frequent tantrums, and big meltdowns. And a lot of times then progresses into things like sensory integration or sensory processing issues, things like ADD and ADHD, insomnia, or even spectrum-like challenges within our kids. Finally today, people all over are waking up to the importance of nervous system regulation, whether it's researchers or medical doctors or pediatricians. A lot of them are kind of like interested in this idea of what it is and what it has to offer in terms of regulating normal function within our bodies. But what's really cool is watching people actually start to understand that the role that it plays in overall health. And as much as I love saunas and jumping into the cold plunges in 30 to 40 degree water, what if you didn't have to do any of that? Or purchase a $5,000 infrared sauna? Or meditate and hum and chant for 30 minutes in the middle of the woods? That one's a joke, kind of. But, what if you could get your nervous system regulated and recharged in like a matter of like 3 to 5 minutes? What if the same thing could benefit your kids, from a newborn baby to your incredible teenagers who really need this level of emotional regulation? Neurologically-focused chiropractic care focuses in on restoring optimal function and restoring balance to the nervous system, especially the central and the autonomic nervous system that we talked about earlier, with the particular attention to that vagus nerve, which is what lives up top within the upper neck, and it plays a crucial role in regulating our nervous system. So at Haven Family Chiropractic, our distinctive approach does not aim to treat or cure nervous system dysregulation, but instead address the underlying causes of subluxation or stress stuck on our nervous system, dysautonomia or the imbalance within our autonomic nervous system, or vagus nerve dysfunction, or things not working correctly. And it's the goal to address those things head on. And so our parents and our patients experience remarkable enhancements in quality of life once care begins and neurological healing takes place and then accelerates. So to learn more about nervous system regulation and how getting this type of amazing revolutionary care at Haven Family Chiropractic may completely transform your family's health, visit the link in our bio, comment below, or even send us a DM to learn more. Secondly, our office is hosting the Perfect Storm Workshop, which is a free event for parents, caretakers, and providers where we're going to dive deeper into this. primarily birth trauma and how that contributes and creates stress struck on the nervous system, to then lead into things like nervous system dysregulation or vagus nerve disorders or dysautonomia and subluxation and all of the cool big fancy scientific words, but being able to boil it down and make sense of it, whether your kid is just being born and is not eating, sleeping, pooping, or calming, or whether you have a ADD, ADHD, anxiety, sensory spectrum like toddler that just needs to sleep and calm and poop. There's going to be a little bit of everything for every mom, every parent, every provider within this workshop. So check the link in our bio. Check the website for upcoming workshops. I would love to see you all on February 8th.